starting. Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. Thank you guys so much for joining us once again. How is everybody out there today? So with us today again is my wife, Cindy.
Hi, kids. How's everybody? I'm super nervous. So, like when you get like a new job or something and it's your first day, I'm going to claim that it's like a coupon you get for the first day. So it's a free day. Super happy to be here, though. It's wonderful.
So today we were going to focus on basically health and wellness and how do we achieve optimal health, especially with everything that we have going on. It's obvious, we have so many toxins around us all the time. It's in our food, it's in our air, it's in our water. I was just doing a lot of research and discovering some really good channels, honestly, and some really good people that have a lot of good ideas. And, this knowledge, which so much of this knowledge is innate, and so much of it also has just been passed on, from basically almost a shamanistic point of view. And science is finding out now why certain things work, like fasting. Fasting is amazing. It really is amazing. And our whole society, when we think about it, has been pretty ass backwards. Wouldn't you agree?
Everything's backwards. The medical system makes you sick. The justice system is corrupt. It's just all inverted is a good word, I think.
Most definitely. When they gave us the old food pyramid and, basically had us ingesting so many grains, that's all going to cause inflammation, especially when they're GMO. And when you look at it, again, unless it says non-GMO, you're probably getting GMO and it won't be organic. And so, it's one of the things that we have to deal with. Fluoride in the water, that's another thing. The spraying going on up in the skies over us all the time. There's so many things that we're breathing in, ingesting, and just absorbing. And we don't even, one of the things we don't even think about, well, a lot of us don't, is that, okay, so say you are drinking distilled water, purified water, you have a water filter, but then the water that's in your shower and in your bathtub is, full of chlorine and fluoride. You're still absorbing it. That's another thing to really think about as well.
And our skin is our biggest organ, and we absorb through that. We absorb everything, and then our poor liver, kidneys, and everything, they have to suffer through filtering those toxins.
Yeah, most definitely. So there's lots of toxins that well, that's basically it. We have to be constantly detoxifying. And it is amazing what it will do for us when we do detox. And we have been experimenting with a lot of different things. And before we go any further, I just want to say hi to everyone. Thank you guys for joining us, for joining us so much. Good to see so many familiar names there. And I know a lot more are going to be joining us as we go on. But there's some things that you might not be aware of. And one of them is autophagy, which it's basically the body's way of cleansing and cleaning out damaged cells. And so auto means self and phagy means to eat. So it literally means self-eating. Sounds bad, doesn't it? But it's really not. This is the way the body gets rid of cells that are, for one, cancerous. And so when we do things like intermittent fasting, fasting in general, water fast, juice fast, dry fast, there's so many different types of fasts, it causes the body to start breaking itself down. which is not a bad thing, especially not a bad thing when it's done in such a way that it's cyclic, so you have periods of building the body up, you have periods of getting rid of the stuff that eventually could become toxic and, even cancerous. So this is something that most people maybe are not aware of. And so there are different ways to get the body to do that. And one of them, as we were saying, is by incorporating some sort of fast.
Absolutely. And it's the body's way of self-healing. And I think, if anything or anybody knows how to heal itself, it's your own body. If we can just trigger those aspects of ourselves.
Yeah, on a video I did yesterday, and I forget which one it was exactly. I did 4. I think I did 4 yesterday. Yeah, we were talking about this and the inner physician, because Upledger was the gentleman who was a doctor of chiropractic and osteopath as well. And he talked about the inner physician, because there is an inner physician, and the body knows what to do when it's given time and the right conditions. So the benefits of autophagy include removing toxic proteins from cells that are attributed to neurodegenerative diseases such as Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, recycling residual proteins, providing energy and building blocks for cells that could still benefit from repair, and on a larger scale, it prompts regeneration in healthy cells. So it's something that people are starting to recognize now, and it may play a huge role. And in my mind, it does play a huge role in preventing or treating cancer, because basically, when you look at it, cancer is a buildup of these malignant cells that are going wrong. So one way to alleviate that issue is to periodically allow your body to break them down. And so it really is pretty simple. If we give our body time to break them down, then that will allow us to cleanse ourselves from potentially having a buildup of these cells that could become cancerous. So while all cancers start from some sort of defective cells, the body should recognize and remove those cells, often using the autophagy or autophagic. I'm going to mess up that one.
Those are hard vocabulary words.
Processes. But that's why, researchers are looking into this. Now, we had talked also about saying, just giving for instance, if you are a 180-pound man and you're taking in 2,000 calories a day, all the studies show that if you cut that down by about 30% as far as the caloric intake, you could add up to 7 years on average that are going to be healthier to your life. So there is a benefit also, and part of that benefit is the fact that you're allowing your body to rebuild itself and to break down anything that needs to be broken down. So it's really a simple process, but of course, where is the money to be made for the pharmaceutical agency, industry in this? There's really no money to be made. So, it's not necessarily going to be on the top of the list of things to tell the public. The other thing is, detoxing. That is so critical. So, Osboy, you're at it again. Thank you so much, my friend, for your support. And the 3099, like those numbers. So 3 and a 99, 18, 21 comes back to 3. Always looking at things numerologically as well.
I'm a life path 33. That's kind of cool. I like that.
Yes.
3 is my favorite.
There you go. 3 is a divine number. So the ultimate guide to detox diets. And so detoxing is critical. And people are recognizing that. And our lifestyle and our whole way of being really in the West has been one of overindulgence for most when you get down to it. I mean, God, I think back to all the supersizing. You want to supersize that. And, honestly, there was a time, back in my 20s that I would eat some junk food, and I would. And, when I was lifting really heavy and just trying to put on as much muscle mass, it wasn't uncommon for me to eat 3, 4, 5 burgers. I mean, I could
Oh, wow.
put it down. And I don't do anything even close to that now. Nothing like that at all. And as I've been sharing with you guys, one of the things I've been doing is basically intermittent fasting is something that I'm doing pretty much every day. And most days now, basically, I have one meal.
You're very good. I'm a little naughty. I don't know if it's because I'm female. I tend to graze a little bit more, or what. But you've been really, really good, and I think you're feeling better. Your energy's up. Your complexion. You always look beautiful, gorgeous.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I've seen nothing but benefits coming from this. But as I'm looking into it, though, from a woman's standpoint, I guess you really have to take in consideration our hormone levels can really get screwed up. So I didn't write too much down about that, but it is something I'm going to look further into.
Yeah, it is different from women to men, most definitely. But as far as like what we've been doing, most definitely been incorporating intermittent fasting, and you are even pretty much staying in those windows too, because most people follow a 16-8. There's different types we're going to look into, but I've been trying to keep it within maybe 4 to 6 hours most days, or just simply eat one meal, and it's amazing because my energy is actually way, way higher, and I'm also feeling just so much more productive, and like I'm thinking a lot clearer. It's been a very interesting thing, and it feels so good. Rosemary's there. There you go. Rosemary. Question for you, since you're out there. We were talking about borax and uses for borax yesterday. If you would share some, we'd love to hear from you again.
I think that Rosemary mentions a heavy metal detox, and I think we're just surrounded in the heavy metals. And I don't know what's like the one key thing if you think you have that problem, and I think I might. What would you use to detox just heavy metals?
Yeah, we'll throw that out to Rosemary. I mean, I know of cilantro for one. Cilantro is a really good, heavy metal puller from the body. There's others as well. Andrew's just did a week of heavy metal detox.
Wow.
And now I have an Adele playlist.
That's wonderful.
Greetings, everybody. It's so good to see you guys out there. And so heavy metals is another thing. And just thinking about, I have so many friends that have been in the military, so many that have gone through areas full of depleted uranium, and who knows what else, really. And it's scary stuff. It's very, very scary stuff. And so Kimmy is afraid to detox because she's underweight. And I think you had shared before, Kimmy, you were like 5'10" and one in the teens, like 118, something like that. Cilantro, yes, light worker, Andrea. It does work great. I love it. It's my favorite herb, honestly.
I think with Kimmy, I've been on that precipice too of you want to be clean, but you don't want to lose any more weight. And I'll look into that a little bit more because that's a really curious question. I'm thinking the stuff that you take in your body and everything you take into your body hopefully can have some kind of cleansing effect as well as nourish. Yeah. And help the depression too, Kimmy. I'm feeling like with you, blood, whatever, a lot of red fruits, vegetables, a lot of blood, cell growth.
Yeah. And yeah, most definitely for Kimmy, I would say also do a lot of chlorella, spirulina, chlorella, those type of powerful green foods. That'll definitely help purify the blood, strengthen the blood. Take in protein. Barbara was asking who's speaking. It's me, Michael, and Cindy. Cindy has been speaking as well. And Rosemary's wonderful. And as you guys know, she's a naturopath. She's an iridologist. She is amazing. Honestly, the things that she could tell by looking at your iris, I mean, she could tell you everything. And so, she looked at mine, and I'm still, oh, thank you, Kimmy. We love you too. And you too, Barbara, and you, Rosemary, and all you guys. What was I going with that?
Oh, we were talking about Kimmy because we're thinking about she needs blood, and we were talking about Rosemary because she's so awesome.
Yeah. I'm still working on things that Rosemary told me that, I needed to work on. And she was dead on. She told me my history without me telling her my history. She knew it just by looking at my eyes. And so Rosemary too, in case you guys don't know, but you could reach out to her. I'll put the link in this, so you could go ahead and reach out to her, anybody that's interested. She's wonderful. We love her. And also, yes, she does work on horses. And, Rosemary, where we are right now, we do have some wild horses, but we have literally hundreds of wild burros everywhere. And so they're everywhere you go. There's more burros where we are than there are people, by far.
There are. People come to the gas station here in town, and the burros will walk right up to them, and they'll eat their food, and they'll put their head in the window. And
yeah, and right now there's a lot of little ones, and we had one that was, how old was that one?
Oh my gosh, that one had to have been born like the night before because its fur was so soft. It was like bunny soft. Yes. It was sweet.
It was adorable. Yeah. So there's so many of them. But also, take in protein. If you're having a hard time, maybe take it in the form of shakes. I like to get my protein with a shake in the morning usually. Well, it's not in the morning. Usually now I don't eat until 3 to 6 o'clock is usually when I'll have something somewhere in that range. But most definitely I'll add protein and chia seeds and flax seeds, so you have a lot of fiber going through to clean out your colon. And so getting back to, we were talking about detoxing, and the other thing we were talking about was intermittent fasting, because there's so many different types of fasting. And a lot of people are doing intermittent fasting. One thing that is very, very beneficial for the body also is getting into ketosis, so that you are, not running off of the blood sugar, but you're actually burning the fat. Most of the toxins in the body are stored in the fat, so it's beneficial to be lean. That's one of the things that we know is always the case. It's really healthy to be as lean as we can be. So, you could look at your BMI and see what that comes out to. Now, BMI could be a little misleading if there's more muscle mass, but then again, it's good to be towards the lean side if we can. And so getting into ketosis, it causes the body to just simply burn its own fat. So, for instance, now I haven't eaten in maybe 16, 17 hours, something like that. So, I'm sure I'm in ketosis, and there probably is some autophagy going on as well. And that's a good thing because, the body is getting rid of that which it needs to get rid of. And then when, I do eat, I make sure it's always very healthy. And honestly, probably 75% of what I eat is veggies. And that might even be higher than that. I eat a ton of vegetables, and it's amazing to me because, back in the day, it would have been like, huge slabs of roast beef or, several hamburgers and, maybe a little potato salad or coleslaw, but, not like now. Now it's like I really am centered around vegetables, and I'm perfectly happy with it. I love it.
Yeah, it's almost like we could do a garden and probably actually seriously live off of it, really. And I get fuller a lot faster. It's like since my cells are being truly replenished, they're not reaching out for more. I think what the sugar does, is the sugar fills up the cells, and the cells are like, okay, this is great, but I still need something, and somehow the signal gets sent to your brain to eat more. And that's where, like, I ate horrible. I was the worst eater all of my life. I ate all kind of sugar. I mean, everything wrong. And boy, I got to a point in my life where I really, really paid for it, and it's been quite a journey coming back. But I have learned a lot, and actually cooked carrots tasted really good last night. Or no, it was last night.
Last night. Yeah, I mean, we do eat some here and there. We'll eat some processed veggie proteins, but not too much. That's like maybe once or twice a week.
So Barbara, you said lately meat has been, you and meat have not been getting along. I was a meat eater all of my life, and what I've learned about just eating vegetables now is my mood is better. I think I was so sensitive to the hormones in the meat that it was driving me crazy. So, whenever you can like lean away from it is super good. I can't say enough about it, how much better I feel.
Everybody's different. There's different blood types as well. The thing I've noticed for myself too is that, I mean, I've been on and off vegetarian for like 25 years. And honestly, when I'm off, I'm pure paleo for the most part, or, keto. And I've gone back and forth. And so there was a period I was craving meat. And I think it had to do with like rebuilding cells or what have you. So I did do it again this time. But every time I've gone back to meat, eventually I can't do it. I just can't do it anymore. Eventually, it's like I just get clogged up, and I'll start having skin rashes. I'll start to feel flush, not feeling good. And the last time, honestly, it led me being stuck on the john for a long time in a lot of pain. And then I just said, okay, I'm not going to ever do it again. I'm not, because I just can't process it anymore. And the other thing is that it hits me spiritually. So it creeps up on me as far as the spiritual side of it. I could eat it because it tastes good to me. It does taste good to me. I'll always kind of crave it at times. But then it basically, I won't even recognize it at first, but just slowly but surely, it's taking me emotionally down into a lower vibration, and it just builds up. So, there's ways of getting protein without meat, and we do eat some cheese, and we'll have eggs here and there as well. So we're not vegan, and we love our Indian buffets.
We do love the Indian buffets. It's sinfully yummy. It's really good.
Yeah, most definitely. So with me, it's not really so much, it's turning into a physical thing that I can't process it. I just cannot process it anymore. But it's also more spiritual, because I just am happier when I'm not eating meat. I'm actually a much more optimistic, happy person. And I've done this experiment enough times to recognize that it's the meat that's making me less happy, and just not feeling as uplifted. So, it's a decision. But everybody has different blood types as well. Like, I'm a B negative. And do you know what you are?
I don't. Oh, but okay, we seem similar, though.
Yeah, that's right. I think we were guessing you might be the same as me, because we're so similar in so many ways. Green vegetables, I mean, we eat a lot of greens. Greens are great. Salads, spinach, things like that. Yeah. So there's some funny comments in there. So, and, commenting on this, if you're a Taoist, you are just draining your life force off. And with the comment there from Seth Dominus, 777. Yeah, that's a good way to age yourself prematurely. So we're talking about intermittent fasting. 16-8 method is one of the more popular ones. So you basically eat in 8 hours, like 1 to 9 p.m., for instance, fast for 16 hours. Something called eat, stop, eat. And this involves fasting for 24 hours once or twice a week. And, for example, not eating from dinner one day to dinner the next. Then there's the 5-2 diet, where you consume about 500, 600 calories on 2 non-consecutive days of the week, but eat normally the other 5. Caloric restriction works. It definitely does. It's just like, wearing out a machine. If you, use it up too much, if you just basically could burn it out. So you got to give yourself time to rest. Now, juice fasting is something that probably is the type of fasting I did the most. And juice fasting is wonderful because you're as long as you're bringing in organic juices, you're giving yourself so much nutrients, tons and tons of nutrients. You're staying alkaline as well, depending on what you're juicing. But again, not all, but a lot of fruits and veggies are very, very alkalizing. And we were talking about the alkaline acid balancing of the body as well. And if your body's acidic, it's going to be just a breeding ground for disease. And so that's something to recognize. Eliminating all the processed foods is the first way to go, and I got to say that some of the worst people that are the people that have the most problem with it, and many times it's our elders. Like I'll go, when I visit my mom, if I go in and look at what's in her fridge, she's still got Wonder Bread and Sunbeam, no matter how much times I've talked to her about that. It's like, ugh. But they were brought up thinking something was healthy, and now we know it's not really healthy. There's better ways of doing things, and cutting out the processed foods is really number one.
That was the hardest thing for me to do because I'm a terrible cook, and I just never really attached to it. So they made it so convenient for people like me to just get a box of whatever in 15 minutes and you're done. When you're working full time and you're raising kids, it is so difficult. But during this transition, I've learned that, you can have, they're going to eat whatever you keep in the house, and they might even have to go a little bit hungry, and it might sound really harsh, but the alternative is much worse because their little immune systems get drained. Your immune systems get drained. If you can, just lean as far away from the process, just a little bit, every day. Just try one little thing every day away from the processed food, and that will build up. Every little bit adds up.
It sure does. Fred shares that he's been doing 16-8 fasting for about 6 months, and it's been wonderful. And, thank you for sharing that. And it's so true. It really does feel good. And I can just share with you guys from what I'm doing. I'm amazed at how I feel compared to how I felt. Just amazed. My energy's through the roof. And the other thing, being a QiGong practitioner, Reiki master teacher, as far as the energy side of things, boy, do I feel energy so much stronger. So much stronger. It's just night and day. When we take a lot of stuff into us, it kind of grounds us, for one. It definitely grounds us. It does slow our vibration down. And depending on what we're taking in, processed foods and heavy meats will definitely slow your vibration down. Which maybe, sometimes you might... In this process with ascension, I think that was part of what I was going through, was feeling like I was ascending too fast in some ways. And I think that was part of why I ended up going back to eating meat for a while. And but yet, back to that point where I feel like I don't need it at all and can't process it, as I said anyway. It's just part of our transition. But when you're doing the intermittent fasting, then you're getting into ketosis on a regular basis. And, my goal right now is to definitely stay within like a 4-hour window. That's really what I'm shooting for. And, and most days probably just eating once. And really, it feels good. My energy is way higher. One of the things that happens too is you end up needing less sleep.
And for me, really, I mean, I'm so sensitive emotionally. It's stabilized my moods. Like when I was in it, and I don't want people to feel I'm bashing on meat eaters. I'm not, absolutely not. But I do think there's something to be concerned about when it comes to all of the hormones and stuff that they do put in meat and the way the animals are treated. And if you're sensitive and an empath, and this, like I said, I don't want to sound hypocritical. I did eat meat all of my life, but I didn't know how empathic I was. You might, I won't say will, you might pick up on those fears that those animals had, because the blood, I could imagine it's going to run through their bodies as fear, a fear thing. And as empaths, we may very well pick up on that, and that can really screw with your moods.
Yeah, actually, my intention was actually to do a show talking about empaths, psychic abilities, things like that, and we'll probably do the next one talking about that, unless something huge happens. As we've been talking about an October surprise and all this stuff going on, with the California fire situation and all. But Cindy is somebody that honestly is incredibly psychic and intuitive, and she's, since childhood, she was able to see dead people, just like in The Sixth Sense, and she still does. And so she's very, very gifted, as is her daughter. And I do want to go into that on a different show. So, but the fact is that she's noticed by eliminating the meat that you're even more intuitive and clearer.
I am. I'm clearer. I have better foresight. Keith says that's why you want to procure your own meat. I couldn't agree with that more. If I did go back to eating meat, that's how it would go, because shamans, my goodness, that was their way. When a creature presented themselves to it, to them it was a gift. And I wholeheartedly do believe that. Yeah. It just so happens with me, I've had these super strong emotions all my life, and I had no idea how my diet could affect me really at all.
Yeah, it has a tremendous effect on us. So looking at the juice fasting, if somebody's going to do their first fast, I think Rosemary would probably agree. Juice fasting could be one of the easiest, best, safest ways to do it, as opposed to, say, like a water fast or a dry fast. So juice fasting too, if you're taking in organic juices, it's just so full of nutrients, so full of nutrients. So it'll help to strengthen the immune system, lose weight, reduce the risk of cancer, detoxify, improve digestion, and it could improve your flora too as well. And so that would be one of the ways I would recommend the most starting out. And again, focus on the veggie end first. Add some fruits to sweeten as you need, but really focus on those veggies. They're so rich and full of exactly what your body needs. And so, juice fasting, what I used to do was I would do one juice fast a month of 3 to 5 days, typically. So that's what my regular schedule was for years. And then I've done also a 3-day water fast. I think the longest I ever water fasted was 5 days. So, I haven't done any mega fasts like that. I have friends that have gone much deeper than that. Although I think now we're going to kind of test limits and see what we can do.
Yeah, they said if you can do like a 3-day fast, that can reboot the whole immune system. So if you have autoimmune disease, I mean, super serious stuff, like a 3-day fast. But I highly recommend that, with women and our hormones being the way they are, you do a little bit of research. I like the lady. We'll put her link in the bottom. Can we put her link in the bottom that I was watching today? And she talks a lot about women and our hormones and how to fast and work around them. Because, yeah, you can have so many symptoms. And, like, some of the symptoms from fasting you'll have are like, you might have pain where the place of injury is. And that's a sign that you're actually creating stem cells. The stem cells are going there and healing you.
And think about this. How many times have I done energy work on somebody and they feel pain right away in that old injury that they haven't even told me about?
They do, and those are those cells being activated. And
Yep.
I totally wholeheartedly know that you can do that, and there's a lot of things we can do because our body is so intelligent, and the medical society system, they do not want us to know we can heal ourselves. So I lost a very dear friend, and I look back now, and I really thought that the doctors knew what they were talking about, wholeheartedly. I feel terrible that she lost her life, but it did wake me up. And so now it's like everything I see that has to do with medical system, the doctors might have really good intentions. I mean, really good intentions. Of course they do, because they're healers too, but they've also been educated by that very same system that wants our money.
Yeah, well, exactly. And so many of them, it's not like they get a lot of training in nutrition, because they don't. If they're going through the regular medical channels, they really don't cover a lot in nutrition. So it's just something to realize as well. And as far as the juice fasting, like right here, this is out of Organic Facts. It says most experts do not recommend juice fasting for more than 3 days, but others have praised the benefits of extended juice fasting up to 3 weeks at a time. And now, if you're depriving your body of dietary fiber, protein, fats, and calories, well, you could see some negative effects. So that's why one of the things I do is I make sure I take in chia and flax, because that right there, typically I'll put in about 15 grams of fiber, right there. So there's a lot of fiber going in, and then again, there's also a lot of nutrients with the juice fasting going in as well. And you could always add protein powder too, as needed. So you could recognize that as well. There's pea powder, pea protein powder is an option. There's all sorts. I also have hemp protein powder, which has a ton of fiber in it. And then you could also add whey protein. Everybody's different. It all depends, on you and feeling things out for you. But juice fasting would be one of the ways I would recommend starting a fast, where a water fast is definitely more intense. And depending on how toxic you are, you'll get symptoms depending on how toxic you are. And so if you are, already somebody that is doing a lot of cleansing, you might not really feel that bad at all. You get kind of used to it. But if you're somebody that was eating a lot of junk food and you haven't really cleansed yourself, then you're probably going to feel horrible at first.
Person. I ate a ton of junk food. I was really bad. I was so typical, eating the processed candy bar every day, probably. Oh man. So this whole process has been such a journey. I kind of wish I would have wrote it down. I think I'm going to start a journal now. I'm pretty deep into it now, but it's been quite a ride, really, just to learn how my body is affected by just what I put in my mouth. It's amazing what they don't tell us.
Yes, most definitely. Now, a year ago, what did you weigh?
A year ago, I was probably like 180 maybe.
And how much are you now?
I'm 129.
Yeah, you've been running between basically 125 and 129 now.
Pretty solid. 125, 129, because I do water fluctuate quite a lot. So, yeah, and I've been holding that weight for a long time now, and I do.
And you're about 5'5"?
Yeah.
So in a year's time, basically, you dropped a good 55 pounds or so.
I did, and it started like with the energy work and sort of putting my soul back into alignment. And I was on a lot of medications too, and I don't recommend anybody go out and stop their medication. I don't recommend that. However, I did wean off of them sometimes by crumbs, because the stuff that they had me on would have put me in the hospital had I tried to like stop. It could cause like seizures, a heart attack, all kinds of stuff. And I think that's part of their evil plan, is to get us on these medications and then make it almost kill you if you try to stop. That's part of it. I truly believe that.
Well, yeah, definitely. The medications themselves often will increase the need for detoxing. Definitely, most definitely. So when we're looking at water fasting, and that's what most people think when you think fasting a lot of times, but it is definitely a very quick detox. It has a strong therapeutic effect. It can be the most challenging one to perform in the first few days. So as they're saying here, getting professional supervision is an option recommended also for a water fast longer than 3 days. And there's a link. I have all these links for you guys. So.
Yeah, it says, things can happen, like as far as heart palpitation. Restless legs is a big one, because I think that's where your brain is detoxing a little bit, cramping, and all these, and even a fever. And these are all symptoms of healing, but we need to know how to manage it. Like one thing, depression can be, she said, it can be treated with some zinc, but I think our moods it's really super important to listen to your emotions and honor them, and do some research. Get curious about yourself. I think that's part of loving yourself, is showing your body, which shows your higher self, that you honor it and cherish how it feels. And somehow that seems to help me, is paying attention, because I never did that before. I never paid attention to myself. It was always taking care of other people. So that's another thing I've learned about myself on this journey.
And then the other type of fast, which is even tougher, is dry fasting. So that means not even water, no liquids, no food at all. And so this is most definitely the most challenging. And this is Dr. Mindy Pelz, who we discovered recently, and she's got a lot of good stuff. So I would definitely check out this right here, her website. And she gets into heavy metal detoxing as well, keto, nutrition. She does the keto thing. She does eat meat. And, again, everybody's different. Everybody's in a different place spiritually, and everybody has their own blood types as well. I mean, there's so many different variables. So everybody's different. But anyway, very, very good info here as well, and getting into dry fasting. So what she does is she dry fasts every Monday for anywhere from 12 to 24 hours. She usually shoots for 1 day. So it's like, she won't eat basically all day Monday and won't drink all day Monday. Does a complete dry fast. And occasionally she can't make it because she just doesn't feel good. And so then, she will break the fast. But as she says, it's the quickest way to reset your body. And fasting does reset your body. And that's one of the things that I noticed before. And I started fasting when I was 11. It was the same time that I first actually read the Bible on my own, cover to cover. And I was inspired really from the religious, the spiritual aspects of it. It just hit me. And hey, I just started to do it, and I've done it like my entire life. Although I'll admit I've never done a dry fast. So that's something I've never done before, but I will experiment with it, in the future as well. Because you just, you don't know how things are going to hit you. But most definitely, I feel way clearer, way more positive, and I have a lot more energy, and I'm also happier. It wouldn't you say it's changed like my outlook,
You are. You're brighter. You're chirpier. You wake up faster.
Yeah.
Definitely. Your foresight is better, clearer, more, mentally agile is a good vocabulary word.
Yeah, that's definitely it. And my good friend Natsaya, he's somebody that's always been on this path as well. We're also kind of like twins in so many ways. And so the other thing that he's got he got both of us into doing, which I hadn't really done before, is coffee enemas. And here you see the 10 health benefits of coffee enemas and the risks. And so, this is something that is going to be hard for a lot of people. Like my buddy Dave in the UK, he said, I'll just keep doing my thing, detoxifying by putting the right thing in my mouth. He said, nothing is going in the outdoor.
I took an herbology class, and they are so open about talking about enemas. And I thought when I first took the class, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'll never do this. I just will never do it. That was only like 10 months ago. And here I am doing coffee enemas, making the coffee the night before. And, it does something to the psyche. When it goes in, I'm sorry if this is morbid, but I got to say it. If it goes in the other way, it has a different process. It wakes me up, but I don't get jittery. And it's so cleansing. And I don't know all the chemical names and stuff that the coffee has in it that helps with the liver and the lower everything down there. But that's really, I don't know, do I dare say, I almost look forward to it. I'm happy. I can't help it.
Yeah, honestly, and the mornings that we do that, and again, if I get up at 8 o'clock or something like that, I probably don't eat usually until 3 to 5 o'clock, and just basically it'll actually pick you up. You do get kind of a smooth boost in energy, but the boost also is coming from the fact that it really does get rid of stuff, and it's amazing what we store in us. I forget the exact number, but John Wayne, when they did the autopsy, he had like 20 pounds, I think.
27 pounds of undigested food in his colon.
Right. And so it's just, what your colon, what your whole intestinal system does is it absorbs, right? That's where the nutrients really get absorbed more in the small intestine. But again, if you have all this gunk, all this toxic stuff just sitting there, putrefying, not good. It's not good. And that's where so much of the toxicity comes from. So, I mean, I would, everybody is different. Proceed with caution. Do your research. All I could say, it's just amazing. Like, I know my waist has been too big because I know that the meat was clogging me up, and Rosemary, told me that as well. She knew I had some blockage going on in the colon. She told me exactly where it was, and I could kind of feel that it was there after she told me about that. And so this has helped to clear things out, and it's amazing the difference. And so, like before, I've always worked out a lot, and I'm not trying to really build muscle, although we all should maintain our muscle, especially when we get into our 40s, 50s, 60s. Over 35, you want to make sure you're maintaining the muscle. And you also want to basically stimulate the bones as well through resistance exercise so that the bones will stay strong, and you could, hopefully not have osteoporosis as we get older as well. Yeah. But, like I told Cindy, I said, well, when I was in my best shape, my waist was under 30 inches. It was like 29 inches. And, it's not there now. And I know it's been, some of it's, body fat, but at the same time, some of it is just the fact that there is a lot of gunk in there. So we need to kind of clean it out. And good to see you, Katrina, as well. And, I have a very dear friend that it was young. He was 32 years old, and he almost died. And it was from diverticulosis. So, and he was, he looked a lot like Louis from Taxi, if you guys know what I mean. He was definitely premature aging. He was very overweight, a good 100 pounds overweight at least. And it almost ruptured on him. It was not a good situation. He had to have emergency surgery. And so, that's just something to be aware of.
And also, I was reading about the preservatives in the food that we put in our body. and how our bodies, how we have these oils, and then the oils that are like, what is it, like canola oil, things like that get in our system ends up being stored around there too. So, I ate a lifetime of garbage, and I'm so fortunate to be pulling out of it as fast as I can. You've helped me a ton, really. I don't know where I'd be without some guidance. But yeah, that those oils from the preservatives, they just stay in your body, so it's imperative to cleanse.
Most definitely. And one of the benefits of the coffee enema is that it does help with the liver as well. So coffee enemas, they obviously will cleanse the colon of waste and debris. And also they can help improve your mental health, mental clarity. They drastically reduce systemic toxicity. And there is something called Gerson therapy as well. And so Max Gerson was a big advocate of coffee enemas as well. It can stimulate the production of glutathione S transferase, GST, in the liver. And so this is said to be a master detoxifier because it binds the toxins in the body and helps flush them out with the enema. In a study done in 1982 by the National Research Council, results showed that coffee was able to directly stimulate the liver without having to pass through the digestive tract in both mice and humans. So they can also help those suffering from cancer. It could help to remove dead cancer cells and toxins from the colon. And I've also had somebody that was in the family die of colorectal cancer. So, it's one of those things, and it was horrible to see. That was just so horrible to see somebody that was almost 300 pounds, go down to about 110 pounds. It was incredible and just horrible. So they also most definitely keep the liver happy. They can help get rid of parasites as well. They can help with pain management. Again, so much of pretty much all disease is centered around inflammation. The inflammation is the big thing. And they also provide the body a great source of nutrients as well. Zinc, potassium, selenium. And they can help keep the body hydrated, believe it or not. And help with skin problems as well. Now, the other side of this optimal health is also taking care of the mental and the spiritual, but also the energetic. And as I was telling you guys, and I've said before, it's amazing, the energy, especially when we do our QiGong practice and standing. And like I've shared with you, that Cindy is very, very intuitive, and she can see energy through her third eye. And share what you see when we do standing.
When we do the standing, I can see the light photons. It's kind of weird because I look at you and then I close my eyes and I can see the light photons kind of grow around your body. And just from this standing the other day, your hands were lit up, like really strong. So that's just interesting. And then when we were done, you commented on how your hands were really hot. So, it's just the energy work that's where I started too. It was all energy work, and it's just completely changed my life. I mean, in such a huge way.
Yeah, most definitely. And so I feel the energy so strongly, and standing, what we call standing, it's basically called by several different things. Zhang Zhuang is the whole school of basically standing meditation. Embracing the tree is probably the posture that people recognize the most. And it just getting your body in a certain alignment automatically starts to bring the life force in. And then when we slow our breathing down, it shifts us into the rest and digest side. And also when you focus on pulling in the energy, sucking the energy in through your foot chakras, through your crown chakra, also pulling the energy in through the chakras in the hands, and also just pulling it in through every pore in your body. And I've done videos on this as well. So I have a full QiGong video. It's a little bit over an hour, and then there's a short one that's about 20 minutes. And recommend you guys check them out. They're under the playlist Meditation QiGong Energy. That's wonderful. It'll do amazing things for you. I did do a video too on pore breathing. It's an incredible technique, and honestly, I feel like that was one of the very keys that helped me overcome Lyme's disease. It's amazing what it can do as far as pulling the life force in. Because the other thing is too, and I was going to do a video, and I will, on breatharianism, which is definitely radical, and it's not for everybody. It's probably not for 99.9% of the population. And many people don't believe it's even possible to just live off of air, but you're living off of prana, life force. And there's a lot more to our reality than we've been led to believe. And I've done videos before on this subject, and there was one yogi that was monitored for 40 days by doctors. He didn't eat, he didn't drink. And they watched his body processes, and it was amazing. They had no explanation for that. No explanation for it at all. So it can happen. And Soul Reviver is saying that we need to pay more attention to our fascia. Yeah, most definitely. Fascia is important. I do cupping. We do cupping.
Yeah, we do cupping. I do tuning forks.
Yeah, she does tuning forks as well. And so, but we do cup because if your fascia is tight, your muscle cannot be loose. It's just not going to move the right way. And the fascia is that membrane. If you've ever, like, say, cut open chicken breasts, that tough substance is fibrous and tough. Well, it wraps around every single muscle fiber. It wraps around all the muscles themselves in bundles. It also goes around every organ. There's 3 layers in the brain.
Hold memory too in the fascia? Wouldn't that hold sort of memory? I would think so.
Everything does.
Yeah, everything holds memory. So it seems like if you were able to clean that out, would also help with PTSD, trauma, stuff like that, because that's something I sort of study.
Yes. Free Thought Domain says they're learning fascial release and craniosacral therapy. Wonderful. Yeah. I've used craniosacral therapy and had fabulous results with it. It's something I do, like if I'm doing a session with anybody in person, I always do it every time, because it's amazing what it can do. And so many people, I'd say almost everybody, is out as far as not having proper craniosacral flow. And so it's amazing what it can do, and I definitely do it on all my clients that I actually see in person. Being we're in the middle of the desert, like isolated, so there's nobody really I'm working on besides Cindy for the most part now. But yeah, distance energy, we're still seeing clients doing distance energy work as well right now. And that's where the focus has been on. And it's amazing, because I had a client that was in Africa, and a friend of his actually paid for the session because he didn't have money for it. And he was actually suffering severely of malaria, and they thought he might die. The doctors were kind of iffy on that. And as soon as we started working, he fell into a deep sleep, and then he woke up like 8-9 hours later, and he was fine. And so he was amazed, and he just thanked me. And that was a distance session. That was basically from, I think, I was living in Florida at that time. So that was Florida to Kenya. So pretty wild. But it does. Distance doesn't matter, because there is quantum entanglement, and we are all connected. So distance doesn't matter at all. So Rue has bought some tuning forks, and
they're very, very awesome for the body. I do have a set, and like the distant work, I've used them on friends, and along with Michael and the energy healing. And there's something about the distant that seems to, I don't know, people get like warm feelings wherever they're hurting. And the tuning forks, I've read up and done quite a lot of research on them. They're really cool. They like tune the human biofield. They don't teach us that our bodies are plasma. Basically, they're forever moving. And so when we use the tuning forks on them, it's like you're tuning your body. It's sort of like a reset. And I kind of got into that along with Michael, the energy work, because of the PTSD. I was trying to erase that memory, and we have these memories standing in our energy field. Even though we think we've dealt with them, we haven't. They're still there, and they still affect us. So when you do the energy work and you use the tuning forks, it kind of makes you a little more congruent with your environment. So I can't explain how it works. It's soul realignment, it's shamanism, it's really interesting. And I just know it's between that and the Reiki have just completely changed my life.
Barbara was asking, where did you get your tuning forks?
I got mine through, first set I got through eBay. The second set, maybe I could email you her information because you can get books on it. And it's been life-changing, with the energy work, because our body has a certain intelligence. It's like constantly listening all the time. And we can tune that and just make things go a lot smoother for us. And the people that I have worked on, it seems like, anywhere between a few days to a few weeks, something major has shifted in their lives. So it's like putting you back into alignment with your soul purpose. And what I noticed with me was a big problem where I couldn't tolerate certain things anymore. And I think that was my body system's guidance in, sorry, I'm getting nervous now. It's just, it's a guidance system where it's uncomfortable for me to do what I'm not supposed to be doing or do what I don't want to do, because I tend to say yes to everything and everybody. I'm such a people pleaser. But pretty soon it started becoming more and more uncomfortable to do things that I didn't want to do. So yeah, very beneficial.
Most definitely. And, even like we were talking about the distance energy work, and anybody interested, just reach out to me at evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com. Like with Cindy, this is how we actually met, because I guess it was about 2 years ago, we had our first session. Didn't really meet in person till, quite a bit later. But, one of the things that she had was tumors, right?
Yeah, I had a tumor coming in my right ear. I've had 2 removed surgically. Then I had another one coming in, and you were working on me. And when you were working on me, the ear started to heat up, because I had a third one coming in. I could feel it, and my ear started to heat up. And when I went to the doctor a couple weeks later, it was gone. But I have it documented before. It was there, he could see it. And then I went a few weeks later after you worked on me, it was gone. But it's so curious how the skin heated up, distant wise. Now when you and I work on people, like, I don't feel that when it's one-on-one. I don't, it's so weird. The energy work is so interesting. I love it.
Yeah, again, it's quantum entanglement. It really is. So, yeah, that's not the only time. I had another client that had a huge goiter, and she had a very, very thin neck, and her thyroid was massive, and the doctors told her that she had to have it out. They said, it's time to take this out. And she had seen me before for more stress relief. And so she said, do you think you could do anything with this? And I told her, I said, let's do 2 sessions a week, an hour each time. And we did. And so it shrunk and then gone. And so the doctor had pictures of it before, and then it was gone. So this is what she said, about saving her thyroid. And it's just, she didn't need surgery. And the doctor, when he looked at her neck, he said, oh my God, what a great job they did. Who was the doctor who did the surgery? I don't see a scar or anything. And she said, that's because I didn't have it out. And then she told him about the energy work, and he just was speechless because he hadn't experienced that before. But this is the type of thing that is going to be more and more prevalent, because of where we're going with the ascension process. I know, as you delve into energy, do QiGong, you learn maybe Reiki, and you do your meditation, you'll feel energy stronger. It's just going to always be growing in you. But there's a difference now. The energy that's around us is way stronger than it was. For anybody that's energy sensitive, you could just feel it. You could absolutely feel it. So we're going to be able to heal each other so much easier. And honestly, I believe if we had a group of maybe 15 to 20 positive-minded people in a room, and we were like laying hands on anybody with almost any situation going on, I think almost everything could be healed. I really do believe that. I totally believe it.
Yeah, there's a lot of information on frequency and energy work and the information that's around the human body. And I think personally the energy work is most important because it's like human to human. And there's sound therapy is really important too, because it can help you resonate with your surroundings a little bit better, and it can also help knock out those standing, like I look at them as black knots in the energy field. And it's just, there's a lot of research that the gal did that I study from Barbara McKeziak, I think her name is. I want to give her all the credit because she's just beautiful, wonderful. And, it's called Tuning the Human Biofield. But I learned from her, and what was so amazing is in her research, the more information she tried to get about sound, she kept getting brought back to the military. And the reason she couldn't get certain information because it was a concern of national security. So that's got to tell you a lot about what our energy field is, what it can and can't do. So she got a lot of books. She has them now, but they're now out of print about vibration, the human body, and certain vibrations. So yeah, it's pretty amazing what we can do ourselves. The self-healing aspect of everything.
It is, and that's what our future is. So that's the positive side of everything that's going on. It's going to be way easier for us to heal ourselves, and really all we have to do is we have to go within, have to do these things to help the body help itself, but also help the mind, help the spirit as well. And as we were talking about QiGong, here's 37 QiGong benefits for your mental and physical health. So there's so many benefits. It reduces stress, balances emotions, improves overall well-being, increases focus, improves memory, improves quality of life for cancer patients, again, because you're getting into the rest and digest side of things. And over time, you'll learn how to pull the life force into your body, increase energy and vitality. This is all just the mental side of it. There's also the physical side, aiding in digestion, build bone density, build the immune system, builds power, clears your skin, lowers blood pressure. There's so much that QiGong can do for you. And so for me, it's my primary practice. And yoga as well. There's a lot of different types of yoga, so many different ones. You could find one that would work for you. All the way from Bikram, like hot yoga, to something a little bit more esoteric, like Kundalini yoga. There's so many different types of yogas as well. So depending on what we're looking for, you could find something that would benefit you. It's just amazing. And the same thing with meditation. There's so many different forms of meditation. And this is an overview of 23 meditation techniques. I'll have all the links attached for you guys so you can look into it in more detail. But again, we are holistic beings, body, mind, and spirit. We have to address all of that, all of those things. And unfortunately, the medical industry really hasn't focused on that so much. It's getting better. It is getting better. More and more doctors are waking up, and they're waking up to the fact that so many different quote unquote alternative healthcare options can actually help. And the alternatives are the things that have been around forever. These are the traditions that are left down to us. In my opinion, a lot of them are handed down to us probably from those societies that were very advanced and unfortunately were wiped out through the cataclysms that we cover so often. So let's, look to the past to discover a new way for the future as well.
Oh, absolutely. We can look back at our ancestors for all of it. Shamanism is probably I think it's one of the oldest practices, and it is a lot also about self-healing, but they talk about, I don't know if I like this vocabulary word, but there's the wounded healer. So like a lot of people that are healers have been hurt severely, but the biggest test to become a healer is to heal yourself first.
Exactly. And, it's the same thing with me because I went through 2 ruptured discs, and then about a year and a half later, I ended up getting Lyme's disease on top of it. And I honestly think it was, I view it as my higher self getting my attention because there was a mission that I had to do in this life, and I wasn't on that path, and I wasn't doing it. And so, I really do believe we come in with a purpose. And so that got me to completely change my ways and steered me down a totally different path. So it was a blessing, it was most definitely a blessing in the long run. So my friends, some really good conversation. I want to thank everybody for joining us once again. I want to invite everybody to join us over here on Patreon as well. On Patreon, there's going to be some videos that we can't do on YouTube. There's just certain subjects that always get hammered. And so we'll have some different ones over here, and you could join for as little as just $1 a month to help support the channel as well, and check out some other videos. And the family over there is building really well with some really good conversations as well. It's a blessing and an honor to have all you guys with us. We love you guys a ton.
Yeah, and really, if you guys want to hear about something, or if you have questions for Michael or I, either one, shoot an email over. And really, we do want to help. We want to do what we can, and we so appreciate your guys' support. You guys are so awesome and so beautiful, and I'm so blessed to have every single one. Every one of you guys are just super awesome.
Yeah, we have the best family, I think. It's just an amazing bunch of people. So, as always, my friends, stay healthy out there. I look forward to your comments. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.